I'm Katie Couric. Tonight, the battle to stop a very dangerous enemy, fire.
I can't recall a time where we have had this magnitude of fire.
Firefighters launch an air assault against a wildfire that's already burned hundreds of acres in Los Angeles. And we're feeling nature's fury from coast to coast. In the south, more wildfires, hundreds of them in Florida and Georgia, helped along by a drought. Thousands are forced out of their homes.
Mandatory evacuation.
Grab on. There you go.
In the Midwest, floodwaters swallow up homes and highways as one levee after another is breached. And the president tries to lift the spirits of people who lost everything to a tornado.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Hello, everyone. If you had any doubt about who's in charge, it's nature. And we're getting graphic reminders tonight of its power and fury all over the country. Fires, floods, and the aftermath of a deadly tornado. We begin tonight in the south, where hundreds of fires are burning in Florida and Georgia. More than 200 square miles of land has been scorched, hundreds of homes evacuated. And to all that tonight, add a storm. We have extensive coverage tonight, beginning with Bianca Solorzano.
Tropical storm Andrea came pounding ashore today, introducing itself to the residents of Florida and Georgia as the earliest named storm ever, 3 weeks before hurricane season even begins.
Named storms develop in May about once every decade, maybe a little bit more often than that. So this isn't unheard of. And if one is going to develop in May, it's normally this kind of storm that at least starts out in this hybrid kind of mode between a summertime tropical system and a wintertime type nor'easter.
But Andrea is not the Southeast's biggest problem. Wildfires are. And the storm's heavy rainfall and strong winds are beginning to affect the more than 200 wildfires burning in Florida, engulfing almost 80 square miles. In neighboring Georgia, an additional 100 square miles are on fire. Hundreds of homes have been evacuated in both states.
Is this what you expected to see, or is it worse than you expected?
It's much thicker than I expected it to be. I mean, the smoke is just incredible.
This afternoon, Florida Governor Charlie Crist saw for himself the condition of his fire-ravaged state, now in the 6th day of a state of emergency.
Tens of thousands of acres burning, hundreds of fires right now. First named storm of the season, and we're just a few weeks away from hurricane season. Can Florida handle all of this?
Florida can handle all of it. I mean, you know, we'd rather have a little bit less.
Still, the governor's not taking any chances, bringing in firefighters from around the state. 300 National Guard will begin specialized firefighting training tomorrow.
The truth of the matter is, we have more than adequate equipment to do this job and continue to train our soldiers.
Officials say the fires doubled in size last night, so they'll fight them till sundown and then go up in choppers with infrared night vision to mark hot spots that they'll be back to fight first thing tomorrow. Bianca Solorzano, CBS News, Bradford County, Florida.
I'm Sandra Hughes in Los Angeles. Destroying a picnic area called Dante's View, the urban wildfire that marched through Griffith Park looked like it leapt from the pages of Dante's Inferno.
This fire has danced like nothing I've ever seen. The dance of the fire remind me how Mick Jagger dances on stage.
Lighting up the city sky, the flames came dangerously close time and again to city landmarks, like the newly renovated observatory, the antique merry-go-round, and about 150 homes near the park. Firefighters told residents to evacuate and then took a bold stand and fought the fire at every single threatened home. At the LA Zoo, visitors were evacuated, but not the animals.
Let's see if any of these animals are running around or going crazy.
God forbid a fire ever came into the zoo. The plan would be to fight the fire from that location.
It's still unclear if arson is to blame. A man was questioned and released for possibly igniting the dangerous blaze. At one point, flames jumped over a footbridge and trapped firefighters. An emergency call for an aerial water drop saved them. Today, some of the 300 evacuees headed home.
It looks like the same mess that it was when we left.
This is the worst fire to strike the Griffith Park area in 45 years, and firefighters are concerned they will remain busy as LA faces its driest year on record.
We're just separating the green fuel from the black fuel and creating a trail to keep the burning material from crossing.
Remarkably, only one home was damaged. Firefighters have the upper hand tonight, but with 2% humidity, they can't afford to ignore even the smallest ember. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Here is the latest now on Andrea. At last report, it was centered about 100 miles southeast of Savannah, Georgia. Highest sustained winds were 45 miles an hour. The storm was moving toward the west at about 5 miles an hour. Tropical storm watches are up along the coast, but forecasters say no significant downpours are expected over land, at least through the morning. They have had a lot of rain in the Midwest, the result of the storm system that produced that killer tornado. The rain has pushed rivers over their banks, and floodwaters have taken over one community after another, running thousands of people out of town. Cynthia Bowers is in Missouri tonight.
Tonight, the town of Big Lake is just that, a big lake under 2 to 3 feet of water, after 9 levees caved under the pressure of the mighty Missouri. Authorities say this community of 300 is a total loss.
It's a terrible thing.
So far, the Missouri River and its tributaries have spilled over at least 20 levees, 12-foot tall walls made of dirt, putting towns at risk from St. Joseph in the northwest all the way to St. Louis in the east. Lifelong resident and town flood manager Glenn Dickman has never seen anything like it.
This one was just a whoops all of a sudden, and we've topped the levees.
For him and many in these parts, all this is an unwelcome reminder of the historic flood of 1993, which killed 48 people and did nearly $20 billion worth of damage to 9 waterlogged states. Big Lake resident Tom Bullock wonders why the government didn't do more after that flood to shore up the levee system.
The levees that were fixed after '93 here on the Missouri side that I know of, most of it was done by local landowners, farmers. The federal government didn't do crap for us.
Flooding is unpredictable. Flooding at this level is very dangerous, and it is not practical and feasible to protect against all flood levels.
Actually, it's not the federal government's responsibility to maintain every levee. Most of the hundreds of levees along the Missouri and Mississippi River are built and kept up by the people who live next to them. People here say the federal government's help with all its red tape never seemed to be worth the trouble until now. The questions about levee safety will remain long after next week when the water is expected to recede. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Levacy, Missouri.
And now to that tornado that all but destroyed Greensburg, Kansas. This is how the town used to look. That was until Friday night when that huge tornado blasted through, killing at least 11 people and turning virtually every building in town into splinters. President Bush got an up-close look at the damage today and tried to comfort the survivors. Here's Hari Srinivasan.
On this gray morning in Greensburg, President Bush saw some of the nearly 1,100 homes and businesses destroyed by Friday night's twister. He tried to comfort those who had lost so much.
I am struck by the strength of the character of the people who live here in the plains.
He hoisted a chainsaw in front of National Guard members. A subtle way to push back on criticism that Guard resources are strained by the deployment in Iraq. However, the Democratic governor of Kansas still believes the National Guard is stretched thin.
If we had had to deploy Guard and equipment in 2 areas of the state simultaneously, we would have had to make a choice. That's a terrible choice for me or any other governor to make it.
When the president was asked about the controversy, he either ignored the question or didn't hear it.
Thank you. Does the National Guard have enough resources despite Iraq?
Thank you guys very much.
Meanwhile, the cleanup efforts rolled on. At the local feed and grain co-op, the storm destroyed a way to load mountains of grain into the bins, and the wheat harvest begins in a month.
You've got a deadline here.
We've got a very tight deadline.
Amidst all the wreckage, kids are still trying to be kids.
Get the nails out of here.
And the superintendent of schools is trying to be optimistic.
I do believe some people may leave. It's unfortunate, and we hope that they don't. We also think there'll be a lot of new people moving back.
But some lifelong residents are skeptical.
I don't question the spirit. I question whether people will want to come back here and rebuild and start from nothing.
A choice facing every family that survived as they remove the rubble from their lives. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Greensburg, Kansas.
Typically, the federal government picks up 75% of the bill once a disaster has been declared, and Washington is facing a mountain of claims tonight. Already this month, federal disasters have been declared in 6 states: Kansas after the tornado, Georgia and Florida because of the wildfires, Texas has had several deadly storms, and Vermont and West Virginia for flooding and landslides. By the way, don't think nature has spared the rest of the world. Australia is dealing with its worst drought ever. Italy is also suffering through a drought. Meanwhile, usually dry parts of northern Africa have been hit with deadly rainstorms. And it seems almost biblical that 2007 is the year of the locusts. Well, they're cicadas actually, about to hatch all across this country, including these in Illinois, after 17 years underground. For more coverage of the bad weather around the country and around the world, you can go to our website at cbsnews.com. There is much more CBS News ahead. The Vice President lands in Baghdad. His first mission, keep the government of the war-torn country from going on vacation. In Washington tonight, a new bill to pay for the war in Iraq is bringing a new veto threat. The Bush administration says the bill being circulated in the House is unacceptable because it would fund the war only till July and give Congress the power to cut off the money if the situation in Iraq does not improve. Meanwhile, Vice President Cheney got an up-close look at the current conditions in Baghdad on a surprise visit today, and he brought an urgent message to Iraqi leaders. Mark Strassman has more from Baghdad.
Vice President Cheney arrived wearing body armor. The image spoke volumes. In Iraq, everyone's a target.
It's a very important time. There's a lot to talk about.
That word time came up a lot during his meetings with Iraqi political leaders, as in time is running out. Time to act on volatile, unsettled issues like real reconciliation, disarming militias, sharing oil revenue. And Cheney warned Iraqi lawmakers this is no time to take a 2-month summer vacation, still a possibility.
We believe it's very important to move on the issues before us in a timely fashion, and that any undue delay would be difficult to explain.
Predictably, anti-Cheney, anti-American protests erupted in major Iraqi cities. The vice president never saw them, never left the relative security of Baghdad's green zone. But he admitted Iraq has serious security issues. It's the job of this man to change that. U.S. Brigadier General Dana Petard trains Iraqi security forces. But in violent Diyala province, he told us capable Iraqi commanders are hard to find and harder to keep. Their work often sabotaged by ethnic politics. In some cases, Sunni commanders who targeted Shia militias were forced to quit or were fired. And U.S. officials blame political interference, sometimes from the Iraqi Prime Minister's office.
It's those kind of pressures and veiled threats that some of the commanders get from different political leaders when they're trying to do what I would say is the right thing.
Tonight, Vice President Cheney got another reminder of the dangers here. A mortar round exploded in Baghdad's green zone, rattling the windows of the building he was in. No one was hurt, but the U.S. Embassy is ordering all its employees, whenever outside, to wear flak jackets and helmets. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Baghdad.
Coming up next, what your kids may soon be learning in school. Can you say ni hao ma? Stay tuned. When you were in school, did you learn to say bonjour or buenos dias? Chances are your kids may learn ni hao ma, which means how are you? Today, more than 3,000 high school students took the first ever advanced placement test in Mandarin Chinese. They're part of an estimated 50,000 students in this country enrolled in Chinese classes, up from 5,000 just 6 years ago. Of course, that's only a fraction of the nearly 5 million who take Spanish. French and German rank second and third. But times are changing, as Barry Peterson reports in tonight's Eye on Education.
How this works is I ask you the questions and you provide me with the information.
This is CSI Miami, American style.
But in China, 1 billion people hear it like this. And the Chinese think it's time their language becomes the next big export, starting with the United States, where in the last few years, the study of Chinese has gone from pretty much zero to thousands of students and growing fast. From Maryland, where 1/3 of the schools now teach Chinese, to Chicago, where most classes are in urban schools.
More and more people are interested in what languages our students should be learning that are going to be useful for them to get jobs later on.
To Snohomish, Washington, where they sing China's praises. A tough and subtle language.
You could say ma, and then you could also say ma, and have it mean mom or horse.
The Chinese government is all for spreading the language as a way of spreading China's influence around the world. It even supplies teachers, but there are not enough to go around. So there's a lottery to see which American schools will get teachers from China. These candidates are volunteers, some willing to leave their families and children for up to a year, and they must be bilingual, Chinese and English.
I want to do something for the culture.
And like Janet Youngping, they believe they are teaching more than a language.
We should let China to be known by the world, and we should know the world as well. How do you say hello in Chinese?
你好. 你好.
Good.
下午好.
A school in Marin County, north of San Francisco, won Janet's services. Nathan is in class because his mom, Denise, learned Chinese as a child in Singapore.
It's a very competitive world that we're in.
Once Japanese was the language most Americans thought their children should learn, but then Japan's economy faded, while China's economy keeps rising fast, and their government believes that 100 million foreigners will soon be speaking their language, including those in America's classrooms.
It's a new language, and all new language is kind of hard at first. But when you get used to it, this is my second year Chinese, it's fun. It's really fun.
More than just fun, Mandarin is the new way to make, as these kids would say it, a run for the future. Make that bin sheng wei lai. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
The Pope, who, by the way, speaks 10 languages, is on his first visit to Latin America, home to nearly half the world's Roman Catholics. Benedict XVI landed in Sao Paulo today, and he'll be in Brazil for 5 days. The Vatican hopes the visit will inspire Catholics there who have strayed from the church to return. From Pope to poet next, would you give a penny for his thoughts? A dime for his rhyme? Frankly, he'd like you to give more.
Thank you so much.
We told you a moment ago about Americans rushing to learn Chinese, but what about all those college students majoring in English? What's to become of them? Our final report from John Blackstone may just give them an idea.
Need a poem written while you shop?
Outside a busy supermarket, Zach Houston isn't looking for a handout.
Need a poem written?
He's trying to make a living as a poet.
Poems while you shop? Need a poem written?
Houston is the supermarket poet of Berkeley, California.
Poems with your groceries? Need a poem?
Go shop for a few minutes.
What do you want a poem about?
He'll write you a poem about anything.
Love and motorcycles? Yeah. Oh, man.
A poem about affordable housing in Berkeley.
But don't expect some simple limerick or rhyming couplet.
Bumper sticker liberals living in ideology and jobless except for a place to be expensive and well-fed by an agenda. That's so intellectual.
On his manual typewriter, itself pretty much an oddity these days, Houston taps out his poems as his clients shop or wait expectantly.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
She'll love it. My mother's in the Peace Corps in Madagascar, and I asked him to write something for her birthday. And so he wrote, "We got mad at the gas cars, so we joined a piece of ourselves to a corps."
As is common with poets, his success is largely a matter of personal taste.
It is impossible to write a poem about
And
love.
sleep between these walls of skin peacefully.
4-year-old city kid. Like an old greasy ocean dried up by the time. We are two wheels, between us a machine that keeps the concrete from touching our feet. taking the places to us on a machine made of 2 pieces of each other. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
You like it?
Yeah, thanks a bunch.
Excellent.
Those who appreciate his work usually hand over a few dollars.
The best day was a Monday, and I made $150.
An income that would be the envy of many a struggling poet. The great English poet William Wordsworth once described the work of a poet this way: "In common things that round us lie, some random truths he can impart, the harvest of a quiet eye." Now, shoppers are harvesting the random truths of Zach Houston's quiet eye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And Zach figures he's getting his word's worth.
Thank you so much.
John Blackstone, CBS News, Berkeley.
And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Attention all